Hi, everyone, and welcome to Katie Couric. Today, she's the cheerleading coach who is decidedly uncheery, a grown-up mean girl who makes the Gleeks' lives miserable. Jane Lynch plays Sue Sylvester on Glee, and we'd like to thank our sponsor, as always, Dove. Hi, Jane Lynch. I'm so excited to meet you.
Oh, thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
Our entire newsroom is abuzz that you are here, so I think it's some indication of your popularity. But do you ever feel like, gee, 70 roles on TV shows, 30 years of hard work, 60 movies, and suddenly I'm an overnight sensation?
Right, exactly. And in a way, I do feel like I've just started. I still get very excited to go to work. I still love getting my makeup done and like, oh, they're going to brush my hair. I still get really excited about it.
But is it kind of strange because you have been a working actor for so long and have been in so many roles, and yet people probably used to come up to you and say,
yes.
Aren't you?
Yeah, I had someone who came up to me in the streets of New York recently and said, before pre-Glee, said, was sure that I was the provost of a small Southern Florida university. Absolutely convinced. And was like, why are you fooling around with me? I know who you are. And I was like, no, I'm not her.
Did other people, did they frequently say, weren't you in, or I know you from somewhere, or did I go to high school with you?
Exactly that. Did I go to high school with you? Don't our kids go to the same school? And you shop at the Vons over there, don't you?
Now, how do people react to you? What do they say when they see you on the street now?
You're so mean. Then they love it. Because Sue Sylvester is so over the top mean that it's comical.
But suddenly, everyone pretty much knows who Jane Lynch is. Am I right?
Yes, that is indeed a bit of a change from pre-Glee.
Is it weird for you? Is it fun? Tell me how you're kind of dealing with it.
It's fun, and it is a little weird, and then in a way, it feels like people have been coming up to me on the street all along. You know how you adapt to things?
Right.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's affirming. I mean, I don't get the crazy paparazzi thing that a lot of the younger stars do, or even the younger kids on our show. So for me, it's all very affirming and lovely. I'm a pretty social person, so
you are very friendly and outgoing, which is nice. I was a little nervous about meeting you.
Thought maybe I'd be one of those brooding comic people.
No, or you're going to pull a Sue Sylvester on me and
what kind of question is that?
Yeah. Making fun of my chin or something,
right, exactly.
like
your
you
research,
do to Mr. Schuster.
Right, exactly.
But why do you think Glee has struck such a chord? I mean, it is wildly popular, and I'm so happy to see its success because it's for all the right reasons, in my opinion. It's not some weird, freaky, creepy reality show. I think it really celebrates the right values and the right things, at least in my opinion. It does.
Well, thank you, and I would agree. I think it's we love to cheer for the underdog. And that's why your daughter, you have a 14-year-old daughter. It seems our demo, a lot of people love the show, but I get stopped by 14 and 15-year-old girls mostly. I think it's at that age where you're starting to feel you've got that special something inside of you. And in the hierarchy of high school can be mocked. These Glee kids get slushies in their face every day, but yet they show up after school and they do Glee Club. They raise their voice in song and they make a joyful noise in spite of the fact that they're mocked for it. And I think that we like to root for that underdog. And also, just like with the American musical theater, when you get to a point in a scene where the passion is so great that the only way you can express yourself is through song, we love that. We love that. We never sing a song for no reason to just sing a song. It comes from a heightened emotional place.
I also think you guys deal with some pretty touchy subjects. Yeah. Kurt, who is, I think, an extraordinary young actor, is grappling with the fact that he's gay, and his father is kind of a macho, homophobic guy, but very lovely, I have to say.
And loves him, and loves his kid.
Loves him so much. Yeah. His mom died.
Right.
And, I think that was such a poignant scene to me when his dad talked about, in a kind of his own awkward way, how much he loved him, no matter what, because for people who maybe didn't see the episode, Kurt was trying to get all macho. It was really funny to try to become closer to his dad because his dad's dating Finn's mother, and Finn is much more of a traditional male like the dad.
Right, exactly.
And it was such a moving scene.
It was. My favorite moment, and I remember reading it in the script going, is when Chris Colfer's, the actor, he plays Kurt, says, I'm trying, and Mike O'Malley, who plays the father, says, You just be who you are. It's my job to love you. That's what I do. That's my job, and I love that.
The writing is so extraordinary in that show. Tell me a little bit about the people behind the scenes, because I would love to meet them.
I would love to tell you about them because they're fabulous. There's 3 of them. Ryan Murphy is the head guy, but he writes every script with Brad Falchuk and Ian Brennan. And they say if you laugh at something, Ian wrote it. If you cry at something, Brad wrote it. And if you think something's just off the wall, Ryan wrote it.
Yeah, so they're a good trio.
They are a good trio. And Brad the other night said, between the 3 of us, we make a very good writer. And I think that because they work so well together, and everything that comes out of my mouth is Ian Brennan. Sue Sylvester is the creation of this young man, Ian Brennan, who is...
Is she based on anybody, by the way, for him?
I don't know if she is for him, but because people have asked me now, is there somebody in my life? And at first I didn't realize, but deeply unconsciously, I think I'm drawing on an experience, a traumatic experience with a teacher in college who was an acting teacher, and we called her the Dragon Lady. And whenever she walked through the hall, you know, you would part like the Red Sea, and she ruled by shame and humiliation, and you wanted her to cast her gaze on you, and then again you were afraid of it at the same time. I think I might have, you know, also she had a wonderful sense of humor about herself, that woman, but Sue not so much.
No, but we're going to talk about the softer side of Sue in a second, which actually I thought is another thing that really moved me, and we'll get to that in a moment, but let's talk about the harder side of Sue first. I mean, she is a biatch on wheels. Do you ever want to start laughing when you're being so rotten to the core to these kids?
When I read the script, I always laugh and go, oh no, I didn't. I always laugh at it, and the kids have a hard time, and Schuster, Matt Morrison, has a hard time sometimes because it's so over the top. I mean, she's so mean. She's just so insulting, and so I enjoy it. I love it. Every time I get a script, I can't believe what I get to do and what I get to say.
We have a little clip that shows sort of Sue at some of her worst moments, or maybe her best moments, depending on your perspective. View, So let's take a look at this.
I will go to the animal shelter and get your kitty cat. I will let you fall in love with that kitty cat. And then on some dark, cold night, I will steal away into your home and punch you in the face.
Santana! Wheels! Gay kid! Come on, move it! Asian! Other Asian!
I don't trust a man with curly hair. I can't help picturing small birds laying sulfurous eggs in there, and I find it disgusting.
Wait, I have an idea. Our assignment for Glee Club is to find a song that reflects our voice.
Yeah, you know what? I checked out of this conversation about a minute back, so good luck with your troubles. And I'm going to make it a habit not to stop and talk to students, because this has been a colossal waste of my time.
Oh, my God. So funny. We have a Twitter question for you about this. CD Kuva writes, do you see Sue Sylvester as a villain, or does Sue just say what others are thinking and are afraid to say?
That's exactly what it is.
No, it's not.
I think it is. It's what I think we might not even believe it's true, but we wish we could say it sometimes. It's the devil on your shoulder kind of whispering into your ear. And I think that's why people love her so much. You go, oh, I wish I had said that. That was so mean.
Ann Simmons on Facebook asks why Sue Sylvester is so angry. What makes her the person she is?
Very good question, and of course I've pondered that, being the method actor that I am. I figure, and I don't know if Ian will agree with this, I figure she had a really rough time of it in high school, and she has a sister with Down syndrome. So she has protected that sister and probably beats people up, but has been humiliated because of it. And I think she probably had a rotten experience in high school that she is out to revenge that experience by going to the most popular group in a high school, being the head of that group, and letting anybody who falls beneath it hierarchically that they are less than.
Yeah,
so they feel the way
it.
she did.
You know, she's the cheerleading coach.
Right.
I mean, could she have picked another sort of
It's
less
the top.
exclusive
Right.
Organization?
Exactly.
Right?
They're the cream of the crop in high school, and that's all she's concerned with is the gorgeous, talented. I mean, you see what she puts that Cheerios group through. I mean, they were on stilts in one. I'm sure we're going to do synchronized swimming next year. We're going to have them we're going to build a pool in the gym, and I'm going to make them do synchronized swimming. I mean, she's outrageous with it.
I loved when Mercedes became a cheerleader too. She is a great character too. I mean, all of the kids I think are just terrific actors. I mean, you must be blown away.
Yeah.
Because they're aren't most of them teenagers? Some of them are
early
older.
20s.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Early 20s. And but Chris Colfer, who plays Kurt, is 19.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty amazing, an advanced kid. Yes, when I first showed up for the pilot, I read the script. I thought it was funny, and I was really happy to be doing it, and I love Ryan Murphy. And then I saw them rehearsing for Don't Stop Believing, and I was like, and not only, I mean, they're good, and it wasn't a real ambitious number in terms of like dancing. It didn't blow you away, but the heart and the arrangement of that particular song and the yearning and how committed these kids were, I was like, this show is amazing. God, I hope it finds an audience.
And it really has.
And it did.
And who picks the music? Do you guys sit around a table? Do you say, this week we're going to do a tribute to Olivia Newton-John or Madonna?
It's Ryan Murphy. He picks every song, and I'm not sure what comes first, the song or the situation. I think he picks the song for the situation. But you notice there's a lot of 80s. Songs, and that's because when he grew up, that was the soundtrack of his adolescence. When music means the most to you,
right?
You know, is when you're kind of forming who you are as an adult, and so he chooses all the songs, and I think he's done just brilliantly. And also, he goes all over the genres. We have American musical theater numbers in there. We did That's Why the Lady is a Tramp. You know, I mean, he goes all over the place with it. I just love it.
Does he have a musical theater background?
Yes, he was in the Glee Club. There's a wonderful picture of him in one of the magazines. I forget which one, Rolling Stone, where he's doing the thing. He was a Glee Club kid.
By the way, I understand you were as well. Were you in your high school choir?
I was in choir. We didn't have Glee Club, but we had choir. 4 years of choir. Loved it.
And so that kind of prepared you a little bit
for
this?
Yeah, I know what it's like, I stayed under the radar in high school. I kind of hung out with people who were popular. I hung out with some nerdy people. But every day after school, the last period of school, I would go to, the last hour, we called them periods, I would go to choir and sing with my fellows. I just loved it.
We call them periods too. Don't
Did
we
you
still call them periods?
I remember people saying
like
first hour,
period?
second hour, but fifth. Yeah, we called them periods too.
I think they still do.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Yeah, maybe
anyway,
not.
but you have a great voice.
Oh, thank you.
And you got to strut your stuff a little bit, right? In the Madonna episode.
I did.
In fact, we have a clip of that. I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, you guys, but let's show a little of Jane busting out Madonna.
The heart.
Marlon Brando, Jimmy Dean, on the cover of a magazine. Grace Kelly, Harlow Jean, picture of a beauty queen. Jean Kelly, Fred Astaire, Sue Sylvester, dance on air.
A different side of Jane Lynch. That must have been a ball.
That was.
But pretty intense work, right? With all those costume changes?
Yeah, it was, we had a wonderful guy, Ali Rahimi, made all the costumes, and our Stacey Black, our hair person, did all of the hair pieces, and they lit it just like the original video, and that was a great challenge. And they had more meetings about that particular episode and that particular musical number than anything else we've done.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Just because it was so
It was so important
intricate?
to Ryan. Yeah,
Oh, it was important
so
to Ryan.
important to Ryan. This is iconic for many people, that video, but especially for Ryan. And he started working on it several months before we actually shot it. And I started the dance rehearsal several months before we shot it, too.
Oh, that's funny. In fact, somebody tweeted. Do you tweet, by the way?
I don't.
You
I
don't?
know all about the tweet.
Yeah.
But I don't. It's a little overwhelming.
I know, but it's sort of fun once you get into it. But Midtown New York tweets, did Madonna comment on your Vogue video? Have you guys heard what she thought about the Power of Madonna episode?
Oh,
did you?
We did.
You did?
She released a statement that was lovely. She watched it with her daughter, Lola, and she loved the message of the episode, which was about how it is to be a girl, and that sometimes the boys don't appreciate that. And she singled out Chris Colfer as Kurt, and Sue Sylvester as being her favorite for that episode. So Chris and I held each other tenderly. we were so touched by it.
I bet you were.
Yeah.
I bet you were. Let me ask you a couple more questions about sort of the character of Sue, because you mentioned, and I just wanted to talk to you about the scene of Sue reading the book to her sister who has Down syndrome.
Right.
And it again is a very poignant part of the show, because I mean that's not you've done it more than once, haven't you?
With Jean, yeah,
yes.
who plays my sister, yes.
Yeah.
I have.
And tell me a little bit about that and sort of the thought behind including that in the show.
That was a pure Ryan Murphy, that move. I remember reading the script, and I'm really kind of mean to that the Down syndrome Cheerio. Remember, I choose Becky to be the new Cheerio, and they're like, oh, what is Sue doing here? Is she going to be mean to this kid? And it turns out I just treat her, I'm mean to everybody, and I treat her like she's everybody else. And then, of course, we find out that I have a sister who I've been taking care of since we were little kids who has Down syndrome. And so that, yeah, that was wonderful. I mean, that's just catnip for an actor when they give you something like that. It's just amazing. And she's the woman who plays my sister is an amazing person. You know, she has Down syndrome, and she's like in her early 50s, and you know, that's just pretty amazing for someone with Down syndrome.
And it's very brave, I think, of the people behind the show.
Yes.
To do that. Again, it raises sort of a whole nother issue.
Yes, some people might be offended, and I don't
know. I don't think so in a way. I mean, I think everything is so sensitively handled on the program, and I think that's yet another example. And then we were talking earlier, you and I, about that scene, I think it was last week as well, with the quadriplegic boy, where Leah's character, what's her name in the show?
Rachel Berry.
Rachel, sorry,
yes.
Rachel. Carrie my daughter would be appalled that I just forgot that suddenly. But Rachel is sort of feeling sorry for herself because she's having some voice issues, and so Finn takes her to see his friend, who's a quadriplegic, and the actor
The actor's quadriplegic, yes. And a singer and an actor. You know, he, from what I understand, the actor had an accident, you know, diving into water that was too shallow, and when he was a young man, and had been an actor and a singer before that, and has, you know, stuck with it, and it was pretty amazing. It was a pretty amazing scene. We were talking earlier about it. I like that they put him in the bed as opposed to in a chair, because you got to see his body. You know, and the lack of animation in his body, and that, you know, he's paralyzed from the chest down, so breathing is difficult, and that he was able to get the breath to sing is just, it's pretty amazing.
And it was clear, I think, from watching it, you know, that this wasn't an actor playing a quadriplegic. You got the sense there's something very real about the show too. Do you ever? I mean, of course, I adore it, but I'm wondering, do you ever feel like, oh, maybe it's just too earnest? It gets a little too
the sap factor.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I love it, but I just wondered, are there some cynics out there who are like, oh, please?
It's funny, I think, because I could be one of those people. Right? Oh, come on, and I think it's just so sweetly done. And then there's enough snark to balance it, because you always have somebody, if it's not my character, it's somebody else commenting like, boo-hoo, you know, which is great. You have to have that. But I love how, you know, I think Ryan said the recipe is, you know, 3 acts of snark and final act of sweet. You know, that you bring it home to something very sweet and something very real.
Let me ask you a little bit about your career, if I could, Jane, because I know part of your career is your working with Christopher Guest. And you guys met each other when you were doing a Frosted Flakes commercial, is that right?
Correct, yes.
Yes, I have my Jane Lynch filmography down here. And apparently it was a bit of improv in that commercial that really caught his eye, as I understand it, right?
Well, I guess so. I mean, we did this wonderful little series for Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, where myself and this actor, Sean Masterson, we played husband and wife, and we're stalking Tony the Tiger. I don't know that it was that successful, but we had fun doing it. And so, yeah, I remember at lunch, Christopher said to me, you know, lunch while we were shooting the thing, he said, you know, I do movies. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, Waiting for Guffman was one of those experiences for me where I, like, fell out of my seat and was like, I must do this. This is my calling. I must somehow do this. He said, you know, I do movies. And I said, oh, yeah, I know. And then about
like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it was really good. And I met him, ran into him at a restaurant about 6 months later, and he was putting together Best in Show. And he kind of looked at me and went, I forgot about you. He said, come to my office today. And so by the time I got to his office, he said, I just worked something out in my mind. You know, do you know who Jennifer Coolidge is? And I was like, yes. She was a groundling. I was a big fan. So I'm going to have you two, if you're interested. I'd like you two to be these lesbian couple with a poodle. And I was like, okay. He said, and I'll give you a call later. He said, I'll call you later. I'm going to talk to my producer. So I went home, and he said, I'll call you around 6. And I purposely went for a walk on the beach. I was like, I'll let the answering machine get it.
Well, we have the commercial, by the way.
Oh, do you really?
Yes, I'm telling you. We did our research around here that apparently caught his eye and led to that movie role. So let's take a look at it.
Sweet, sweet. Oh, there's
Frosted Flakes are about so much more than just great taste. I mean, there's that, and then there's Tony, you know. Then there's the frosting, And then there's Tony.
All right, take a picture.
Okay, got it.
Okay,
He looks different.
I think that's a woman.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Was that pretty much improv for
Yeah.
you and the commercial?
We did, yes, we improvised it. Yeah, it was very much a la Waiting for Guffman and how I ended up working with him on the other films too.
Yeah, tell me about the sort of what you think are your most memorable film roles. So would it be Best in Show?
Yeah, that one, you know, and it was the thing that kind of kicked me to a different level from kind of an obscurity, which I didn't mind being in. I was making a living. It was nice. To being more recognized and where work started coming my way, which is always wonderful.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so what other movies? I mean, I know, but I want you to talk about them.
I have great affection for playing Laurie Boner in A Mighty Wind. I loved playing, and it was kind of uncomfortable for me too, because she's a real sex pot. And I don't walk through the world that way. So I had to dig a little deeper and find this lady, and it was, although I must say, at the end of the day, I couldn't wait to get the hair done and get the makeup and everything off, you know, because it didn't feel real natural to me. But I loved kind of embracing that sexual goddess in me, somebody who really has that kind of feminine thing going on, that loves her own cleavage, you know. And so that was kind of liberating for me, actually.
And then you were in a couple of, well, you've been, as I said, in tons of movies, but you had a pretty big role in Talladega Nights.
I did, yes. I played the
grandma. I got
grandma.
mentioned in Talladega Nights.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
What was that?
Sasha Cohen.
Baron Cohen, yeah.
Baron Cohen said something to Will Ferrell about that he was Diane Sawyer and he was Katie Couric or something. There was something in there.
Okay,
yeah.
Oh,
so
that's sweet. Isn't it nice to be referenced in
yeah,
pop
it's
culture?
weird. I was mentioned in this other movie about with Michael Douglas and Demi Moore about sexual harassment. Do you remember it? Demi Moore was like really aggressively chasing him and kind of ruining his marriage. And he says to somebody, "I went to bed with Katie Couric and woke up with Jessica Hahn." Do you remember Jessica Hahn?
Yeah, I do remember Jessica Hahn.
So that was weird because I was in a movie
Baker's.
theater and it just kind of came out. It was pretty shocking.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about me, Jane. So Talladega Nights, you had fun doing that movie.
I did. I had a great time doing that. That 40-Year-Old Virgin led right to that.
Yeah. And 40-Year-Old Virgin,
Yeah, 40-Year-Old,
obviously.
that was a big deal too. That is, you know, Steve Carell was in at Second City at the same time I was, and his wife said to him, "You have too many men in your film." Nancy Walls, she's an actress too. "You have too many men in your film. You should read Jane for the store manager." So that's how we came up with me taking his sexuality and all that, or his virginity, not his sexuality. I didn't take the whole thing. Just his virginity.
Meanwhile, I mean, that's pretty funny that Christopher Guest was like, "I'd like you to play a lesbian couple in Best in Show because you're openly gay."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Well, there's that works for me."
That works for me, and I don't think he knew that either. So that was nice.
Let me ask you about that. I know you're getting married. Is that right? Next month?
Yes.
Yeah. And you've been very open about it. And do you worry at all about the impact of being so open about your sexuality?
In terms of like my career,
yeah,
or
I guess I don't know. Just because I think people are much more open these days,
Yes, they
but not
are.
everybody is.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, I have Ellen DeGeneres and Melissa Etheridge and all of them to thank for, you know, kind of paving the way. Rosie O'Donnell. So it's not such a big deal anymore.
Right.
And I guess you know what? I really don't think about it. It's not like I have a strategy of how I'm going to deal with my orientation. You know?
Yeah.
I'm kind of just very open about who I am, and you know, I'm more than just that, which I think is if I am sending a message, which I don't consider myself a messenger, but sometimes you can't help it because you're out in the public, is that it is just one aspect of who I am, you know, and I would like for it to be viewed that way for everybody.
Tell me a little bit about your wedding. Are you going to have a big wedding? And
No.
are the Glee kids going to sing with the wedding
Oh, wouldn't that be
band?
sweet?
That would be so great.
We're going to have a big party in Los Angeles for sure, and the Glee kids will be there. And it's funny, singing for them is like their job. You know, they don't walk around the set singing, and I do, and I have the worst voice of all of them. I love singing all the time, but I wouldn't make them sing. But we'll have a big party. And I'll have a big party in Chicago with my family. We'll have a big party in Birmingham with her family. But the marriage is really small, and just a couple of friends.
There was talking about being an openly gay actor. There was a Newsweek article, which I know you read, Jane, that created a lot of controversy because the writer criticized gay actors playing straight characters. And he wrote, "Most actors will tell you that the biographical details of their lives are beside the point, except they're not." Ryan Murphy actually called for a boycott of Newsweek.
Yeah.
Kristen Chenoweth, who's starring in Promises on Broadway with Sean Hayes, issued a statement as well. What did you make of that article?
You know, I just applaud everybody's right to say what they think, you know, and I don't think you don't have to agree with him. And I don't. I mean, I defer to Aaron Sorkin, who wrote a wonderful blog in the Huffington Post, who said, you know, you can no more play gay than you can Catholic. You know, it's kind of just one part of who somebody is, and maybe, unless they're like a flamer or a butch dyke, you know, then that, you know, if you're going overboard with a stereotype. But I don't think it really matters what somebody's. I mean, I play straight people all the time, and nobody's upset about it.
And it's almost like saying that you can't play a soldier if you were never in the military.
Right.
I mean,
goofy.
it's sort of
that's a great thing,
right?
Yeah.
What difference does it
I think
make?
it's kind of goofy, and you know, obviously, he's not telling others how to think. He just expressed an opinion, and I don't agree with it.
Yeah. And is it? Do you find? Is there any pressure? Do you find it at all difficult to be openly gay in Hollywood, or is it just one of those things that is so much
Hollywood is so
more
gay.
accepted?
Hollywood is so gay. Everybody's gay.
So it's hard to be straight in Hollywood.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we discriminate against the straights. There are, you know, it's Hollywood is just a mix of all different kinds of people, and nobody really cares what your orientation is. I think it would have been a bigger deal 10 years ago. I really do. I think Ellen coming out was huge and groundbreaking, and kind of shifted. I mean, look, she's like this. Women from the Midwest, mothers love Ellen. They travel to Los Angeles to watch her show. You know, so I think it's just pretty amazing.
And Oprah even did a whole hour on Ellen's wedding to Portia
That's right,
de Rossi.
yeah.
And I thought, wow,
Yeah.
there's been a real sea change
There's a
in
shift.
attitudes here.
There is, and then, you know, there are some people who will never shift, and that's okay. They'll probably be dead soon.
Let me ask you about this. You've got a role in the upcoming movie Shrek Forever After. Mm-hmm. You play Gretchen.
Yes.
Is she wretched?
She's wretched, and she's an ogre, and
I think you might be getting typecast, Jane.
but she has a heart of gold.
Really?
Gretchen is actually very sweet. I don't think I'm in there. Oh, is
No,
that
I
me?
was-
No, that's Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, that's Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
Is this a clip, you guys? Because we can run the clip if it is, or it's just a still.
Oh,
well,
okay.
I'm sorry, you're not even in
That's
that
okay.
still.
I wonder if I'm really even in the movie.
I think you actually might have gotten cut out. We're actually here to tell you, Jane, that Jeffrey Katzenberg called us, and we're really sorry.
Yeah, because I did some interviews for it, and the guy said, "Now, who were you?" I said, "I'm Gretchen." And he said, "I don't remember her," and I wonder if maybe I was cut.
Did you have fun doing that?
I did. I love it. I did voiceovers for several years. That was kind of my my job, and you know, getting the animation job was the golden ring, the brass ring, and it was really great now that people are asking me to do that sort of thing. I love it.
Are a lot of doors opening for you because of
Yes.
Glee? Yeah.
Yes.
Would you? I think somebody actually Twittered this question, and they asked if you would ever consider some more dramatic roles, because you were in Julie and Julia.
Right.
You played Julia Child's sister in that movie, and you were great in that. You look so tall in that, but you are tall.
I am.
How
I'm
tall are
6
you?
foot, yes.
Oh, 6 foot.
Yeah.
But I think they had you in heels
Yeah.
because, and then I think.
Well, they
Stanley-
cast everybody little, and you know,
Yeah.
Stanley Tucci's not that tall.
Yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
Stanley, but you're
That's-
not that tall. And,
Would you consider some more dramatic roles like
would,
that?
absolutely.
Have any come your way?
Not yet, no. But you know, I feel like the world is my oyster at this point. I think I love doing it all.
So exciting.
It is.
It really is. And we have another question from Ex Limo Man. He follows me on Twitter and tweets me a lot. He wants to know if you're going to be part of the Glee tour.
I have a video welcome. It opens up to me kind of saying, "Why are you wasting your money to see these snot faucets?" kind of a thing. And
Yeah.
and then I'm actually going to the concert, so I will be there. But I am not performing in the concert. No.
All right, we have a name game here real quickly before we're wrapping things up. All right, you can just tell me a sentence or two or one word if you want when I say these names. Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, the best. She's the best, and she's as nice as she is in your fantasies that you would think she would be. Just, I love her.
And of course, one of the shows featured her, and you guys were
Right,
really funny together.
Let's Get Physical, baby. We sang that together. That was a highlight of my life. I couldn't believe it was happening.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh, the funniest. You know, you just look at her and you want to laugh. And she's really dear, very sweet.
Yeah, she is funny. Ellen DeGeneres. I think you've said enough about Ellen.
Yeah, groundbreaker.
Because, and she's great.
Yeah.
I think she seems like such a nice person.
Yeah.
Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, we could do without him, can't we?
Carol Brady, because you did the live stage version of the Brady Bunch.
You know, the best mom on the planet, Carol Brady. She's the mom we all wish we had.
Your agent once said you'd work for a steak and $1.50.
It's true. It's
So,
true.
so how does it feel to be in that position you've really been working for your entire life. Although I think you probably, if I have gotten the right impression, really sort of enjoyed every part of your career.
I've had very few low moments. You know, people say, did it ever get to a point where you were going to quit? And I'm like, no. And then someone reminded me that we were hiking Fryman Canyon, and that I was like saying, I think I'm just going to leave town. And I remember doing that. And then by the time I got to the bottom of the hill, I was back in the game.
You just sort of are hardwired for happiness. That's what I think.
Oh, well, thank you.
No, it's nice. I think you generally are a pretty positive, upbeat person.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so, and I think it helps you through kind of the ups and downs of this career, because it can be terrible, it can be awful, it can make you feel really bad about yourself, but you have to keep on plugging.
Well, we are all, I can say for all of us, very, very happy for your success, and I got you a little something because,
really?
Well, you know, if you're talking to Sue Sylvester, I just thought, what could I give Jane that she actually might be able to use, and maybe you could even. Gosh, maybe it'll show up on the show at some point.
I know the people who would be able to do that for you. Oh, wow, look at this, guys. And in my colors, too. These are my high school colors, too.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Cute.
Well, we got you a
tracksuit.
Sue Sylvester tracksuit.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I so appreciate this.
And again, congratulations on all your success.
Thank
We're
you.
so happy for you. And please tell everyone on the show and behind the scenes that they've got so many fans here, so many gleeks, as they call us.
Yes, I will, and thank you. This has been lovely.
Okay, good. Thanks, Jane. I'm glad you had fun. And thanks to all of you who submitted questions for Jane on Facebook and on Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, you know, you can actually follow me. My handle is... My handle, is that what they used to say with CBs?
What are they called? CBs, yeah.
CBs, yeah. is at Katie Couric. And now stay tuned for a message from our sponsor, Dove.